Hello, friends. Mary here with Boomers Blooming. How are you all today? I was just sitting here thinking, because it's been a slow morning. I was just sitting here thinking about how it used to be when I was a child. And I know a lot of you all can relate to this. Do you all remember those old ice cream trucks that used to come through our neighborhood? Remember, they had a bell, and the kids would run in the house. Mama, the ice cream man is out there. Can I get an ice cream? And they were so cheap. I think they might have been about 5-10 cents then. That ice cream truck would come through that neighborhood. It's almost like you could smell them coming through there as a child. And they would play that music, and you would hear that, and you knew that was that ice cream truck that had all them goodies on there. And so you'd run, you'd be so excited. And you get that nickel, or you get that dime, or that penny, whatever it was, I can't remember. And you run up to that ice cream truck, and that ice cream man would ask you what you want. And he would open that door, and you see that smoke come out of there from that freezer that was on that truck. And you and your friends standing around. Oh, I want an ice cream sandwich. I want a lollipop. I want this. And then you stand. You can't wait. You just tear the paper off of it. You can't wait to start eating it. You just strip the paper off. And then he goes on down the neighborhood. You hear his truck, and you hear the music going on through the neighborhood. And you see the other kids running, and you're standing there with your friends, especially in the summertime. In the summertime, this was just wonderful. So your friends, do you remember those old ice cream trucks? I do. And you know what? I'm looking down because I wrote some of these things down. You remember when they used to deliver milk and eggs to your door? My mom used to get her milk. We call him the milkman. Did the milkman come yet? They would be in these glass bottles too. Glass. Real glass. And he would come through there. He'd have on a white hat and a white uniform. And he would have this little thing that he would have these bottles in, this little rack. And he'd come through the neighborhood, and he'd put those bottles of milks. Sometimes you could get chocolate. You could get regular milk. And if you ordered eggs, he'd have eggs there for you. Wow. Remember, they used to bring it right to your door in the mornings, and you would be there, and you would just pick it up and take it inside. You remember that? And do you remember those? See, I'm looking back because I'm remembering all these things. Do you remember those day-old bakeries? Do they still have those around? Those day-old bakeries, where they had day-old bakery goods. They had bread. They had hot dog buns. They had pastries. They had cookies. They had candy. Some of them had carried cereals. Do you all remember that? Those one-day bakeries that you would just drive up to. I think Colonial had one of those. And Sunbeam. Remember Sunbeam and Colonial? They had those day-old bakeries where you could just go. And you know what? That stuff would still be fresh. They had just, I guess, maybe pulled it off the grocery shelf, or maybe and brought it there if it didn't sell within that time frame. I don't know exactly how they did it, but they were called day-old bakeries. Sunbeam, Colonial Bread. They had those. You could go in there and get bread so cheap, so much cheap. You know, as I remember, I think you could get like maybe 3 loaves for 50 cents, or maybe $1, something like that. Those day-old bakery places. And then you remember the, the vegetable truck. We used to have this truck to come through our neighborhood. It was just an old truck, and on the back of it, it had vegetables. It had collard greens, turnip greens, cabbage, tomatoes, okra. It had spinach. It watermelons, apples, oranges. A lot of the neighbors used to wait for those trucks to come through the neighborhood. They pretty much knew when they were coming, and they would wait. And then you go out there, you take your money, and then say, for instance, if there were apples, They had this scale that hung down. Remember, it was a scale, and they would put those apples on that scale, and they would tell you how much those apples were, and they put them in a brown paper bag. You know, they had bananas during the summer. They had peaches. They had all kinds, and it was fresh. It was so good. It was homegrown. It wasn't this stuff we have today that's processed and grown so fast. It was homegrown. That and a lot of times that guy who drove that vegetable truck actually got that. He had a farm. He had a farm, and he would load that truck down with cantaloupes, watermelons, all kinds of greens, turnip greens, collard greens, like I said, and he would come through the neighborhood. And he would just sell his produce. And people didn't have to go to the store. They could get farm fresh produce right there in that area. And people knew him. People knew him. They called him by name. They knew who he was. Sometimes they even knew his schedule when he would come through the neighborhood. And it was so convenient. And we kids would run up to the truck with our parents because we'd be wanting, Mama, can I have a banana? Can I have an apple? Can I have an orange? They'd have strawberries. They'd have all kinds of stuff. Fresh stuff. And it tasted so good. Because like I said, a lot of this came from these guys' farms. And they sold their produce on the street. You know, every now and then I see a truck like that. I'll be driving and I'll see a truck parked somewhere in the parking lot and they'll have vegetables on it. You guys remember that? I'm sure you do. And then there was this candy lady. Now, I don't know about your neighborhood, but in the neighborhoods I lived in, there was always a lady who sold candy, and we called her the candy lady. Everybody knew the candy lady. Everybody knew where the candy lady lived, and everybody knew what candy the candy lady had. So you would wear the socks off your parents about money to go to the candy lady's house. Now, the candy lady, pretty much, I don't think they really worked. This is how they made a living, how they supplemented their salary, or how they, just made money to survive. And so they had these big bags of candy. So you go to the candy lady's house. And I don't know how many times I say, Mama, I want to go to the candy lady's house. The candy lady has stuff that costs a penny. You get a piece of bubble gum for a penny. So if you got 5 cents, oh man, if you got 10 cents, you could really run to that candy lady's house. And your mouth would be chomping all day on the candy lady stuff. The candy lady. You all remember her? All the kids knew her. She was friendly. She was accommodating. She loved kids. She sold candy. And she was called the candy lady. You all remember that? Did you all have that in your neighborhoods? If you did, put it down in the comments. Put it down there. And some of the candy people had ice cream in the freezer. You could go there, you could buy a lollipop, what you call them, popsicles. They used to call them popsicles. They came in cherry, grape, banana. My favorite was banana. I love banana popsicles. And you could just go there and she'd go right in there and she'd get it, hand it to you, give her the money. The good old days with the candy lady. Some of these things that you experienced, put them down there in the comments and share them with me. Share them with us. Let us see. Because there were so many things depending on where you lived and your life story and the things you experienced. And, I'm just looking at this list right now, and I think I just about covered everything on here because I talked about the milkman and the day-old bakery, the ice cream trucks, the vegetable trucks. See if I have anything else on here. And all of that. I talked about that. And so those were the good old days, especially during the summertime. And people knew each other. The vegetable man knew people. The people knew the vegetable man. People trusted each other. People looked out for each other. It's just a great time. You all remember that? Some of the things I brought up. If you do, and you like this content, give me a thumbs up. If you just like me and the way I present myself and my storytelling and the knowledge that I bring, or just my silly, laid-back personality, if you would, subscribe. Subscribe, give me a subscription to Boomers Blooming. Doesn't cost you anything. It's absolutely free. All it's going to do is notify you the next time I put out a new video. So you can laugh with me. You can reminisce with me. You can remember with me. Because I know a lot of you all that are still here remember so much of this stuff I put out. So much of it. The good old days. The good times. The things we enjoy. The candy lady. The ice cream truck. The vegetable man. All of that was good. A lot of those things not around. They're not around anymore. But the memories never die. They're still there. So, until I post again, you all have a great day. Enjoy yourselves. Stay safe, happy, and peaceful. And I love you guys.